I have recently just been through a major ordeal, and it's taught me a core principle that I already kind of knew in my life, but I just learned it to a whole new level. And I wanted to share it with you because if you're going through something difficult right now, especially if you're stuck in an area of your life, this might change your life. Essentially, what I've just been through is for the past month, I have been extremely ill. Something happened in my life that triggered a physiological, psychosomatic response, along with mold in the place that I was living here in Bali, Indonesia. And I got sick like I haven't been sick in a very long time, and nothing was helping. And got to the point where I started to get actually legitimately worried for my life. Like, am I actually going to make it through this? Is it time to check myself into some kind of rehab facility? I don't know. And it just went on and on and on, and nothing really got better. And I tried everything in my arsenal. And I got to the point where I just had enough. I came out of my girlfriend's home one day, and I just felt absolutely miserable. I was sick as a dog, still had nausea, and like my head was just totally foggy. I felt like I was going to faint, and there was snot coming out of my nose. It was just awful. And I just had this lucid moment of, you know what? I don't believe this shit anymore. I'm fine. I'm extremely well. I am so well right now, and I'm loving my life, and this is incredible. I'm so grateful for my health. Took a deep breath, breathed it out, and nothing changed. The physiology in my body did not change. The sensations in my body were still the same, but I completely decided to ignore that and brainwash myself into the fact that I actually felt amazing. I went up the road to a cafe, had a great lunch. It still felt like shit for most of it, but the narrative inside of my head was, I'm so done. I don't believe any of this any longer. I feel freaking fantastic. And would you know it, that all of a sudden there was more of a pep in my step. There was a smile on my face. I started feeling more cheerful, more optimistic about the future. And before I knew it, more ideas were coming to me about things I could do, how I could change my life and my reality in that moment. And then there was a lucid moment of feeling just fine, of starting to breathe normally. I went home, started packing my bags. I slept very well that night. And the next day I felt much better and much better and much better. And over the next few days, I actually returned to a very good level of health and having my energy back. And I'm actually here on the beach right now, in Amed in Bali, Indonesia, unpacking the next steps of my life. And I call this not believing the evidence. Of not believing the evidence inside of your mind. Not believing your mind. It is so freaking important, especially during these times of our lives, during this time on the planet, as we're all collectively facing the most transformational, the most apocalyptic times ever. Apocalypse actually stemming from its root, its Latin origins, which mean to unveil, to reveal the truth. When the old you is collapsing and the truth of something much, much bigger is begging and trying to shine through you. When this happens, when there's a big, big energetic upgrade happening in your life, coming in from within you, from above, as these energies penetrating our planet, our consciousness are coming in right now, it always usually kind of seems doom and gloom on the macro, on the outside, and very often on the micro, internally, inside of us, as we're facing the end of who we thought we were. And in those moments, when we buy into the narrative of how bad things are, we can indefinitely spend sometimes forever in these places where the doom and gloom and your body's falling apart, or your finances are falling apart, or your whole life is falling apart. And if you buy into that story, you'll just keep repeating the same lessons over and over again. The opportunity is, just like in the story I've shared with you, to take a sobering moment and to realize the true creative power of your consciousness and like a thunderbolt running through your mind to your body, allow that to pulse through you and weave a completely different reality simply by saying, I will not believe this about me any longer. And see what happens from that place. Usually, nothing at first will change, but you will register the change inside of yourself, like I did when I was standing outside on the street that day. Nothing changed, but yet I just knew everything was done from that moment. I will not accept this reality one moment longer. It is absolutely done. It's absolutely finished within me. Even if I continue to feel these sensations, they don't mean anything anymore. And this is where it's wild, guys, how quickly the mind and body and entire physical, physiological matrix of this meat suit, this incredible being that you are, start to shift. Joe Dispenza talks about this in his works, how essentially as soon as you shift internally, there is that cascade of hormonal responses that happen inside of your body bioelectrically, chemically. It all starts to unfold. But it starts in that one moment. In that one moment where you cease to believe everything you believed up until this moment about yourself, about the whole story, about the narrative. And you breathe that in the next moment and the next moment and the next moment, and everything begins to shift. The challenge is when you look around, you don't see anything different at first, is to have the faith, the resoluteness that doesn't mean anything. The meaning we give to that external reality is absolutely what assists you in repeating the same loop inside of your own consciousness over and over and over again until you actually snap out of it and we decide it doesn't mean anything. I was still sitting there with the sensations of everything happening in my body, but the narrative I had in my body up until that moment was, oh my God, this means I'm sick, and when will I get better, and why me, and blah. But then all of a sudden I was just there, present in my reality, thinking, well, these are just sensations. How lovely that I'm feeling these fuzz in my head and this whatever it is. They're just sensations. And this is where the healing comes in, when you're able to just presence what is without giving it some freaking interpretation or some story. This is how chronic fatigue can lift in a moment. This is how depression can live in a moment. When you do not lift in a moment, when you feel it, but you don't identify with it any longer. You just allow it to have the space, allow it to have the breath, and open up to a completely new possibility. So I wanted to share this with you because it's been the most prominent thing and lesson in my life over the past month, and it's been so huge for me. It's been such a time of transformation, and I'm looking back on it feeling so much gratitude for it because it's brought to me and up for me where I had still been hiding my own power within myself, hiding from my own value as a creator and a slave, where I have been hiding in my shadows. And it's opening up for me a completely new view of what else is possible, a completely new way of moving, completely new way of likeness. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to keep going. I'm excited to share this with you. So where in your life right now are you buying into a narrative of limitation? Where are you buying into something that you've been looping in for a long time? What is the story that you're actually telling yourself about it? What would it be like? What would it be like for you to not believe in it one moment longer, despite the shit, despite the evidence, despite the insurmountable odds and the overwhelming evidence to the contrary that change might be impossible? And what would it take to just this moment right now, perhaps in the thick of it, in the thick of the most hated circumstances, the shit, to not believe in it, to be fully in it, but to not believe it, to experience it as experience, but not the truth of who you really are. Because that's all it is. It's an experience, it is an emotion, it is a felt experience, but it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Everything has a beginning, the middle, and an end, and this too shall pass. and you have a part to play in that. Will you allow it to be what it is, but don't believe it for ultimate reality? Because who and what you truly are is beyond words. It is unspeakable, and it is shining through your eyes this very moment. It's reaching for you, and it's looking for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to subscribe, all the stuff is down below. And if you'd like my help in coaching one-on-one, check out my offer rates down below. There's a link on how to work with me down there. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.